at the Westmoreland County Museum today. My name is Celeste Johnston, and the museum is in Montrose, Virginia. Some of you will know that, but some of you won't. So I want to tell you about something that I find really exciting. It's like, I don't know, there are really great things in this museum, but this thing is something I really like to learn about and to know about. And you want to zoom in on the... Can you see this? Oh man, what do you think it is? I bet a lot of you probably know what it is. It's a shark's tooth. Can you believe that? A shark that had a mouth that had maybe even 276 of these things in it. So how big would he be? Well, from what I've been reading, it says for every inch of tooth would be about 1,000 pounds. So, or 10,000 pounds, because he weighed 60,000 pounds. So, anyway, the tooth itself is, well, it's as big as my hand. So that's about 6 inches. And they could regenerate these teeth. And at one time, they might even lose 100 teeth a day. So why do you think they might have lost the teeth? Because they ate so much. 2,500 pounds of food a day. So let's think about how much food that could be. Oh my gosh. How many grocery bags of food? Did you ever weigh a grocery bag of food? I didn't, but I think I might now. I think it would be maybe even a year, but who knows? So anyway, another way to think about it is cows. Well, he could eat 2.5 cows in one day. So I know you guys have seen cows, so you kind of get an idea of, how big that is. Oh my gosh. So like my friend and I were saying yesterday, well, wonder what he did with the other half. Do you think he saved it for his buddy or something? Or maybe he stashed it away for later. I don't know. But anyway, in talking about him, he was such a magnificent creature. At 60,000 pounds, he would be as long and big too as a football field. And I know you guys have probably seen football fields, or I'm not sure about soccer, but I think their soccer field is pretty good, big size too. So anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of this giant, magnificent beast. So, we know that he lived in different places in the world, and we're thinking that too, he was probably up around the cliffs when you go up to Westmoreland State Park, but they probably would have been underwater then, probably. That would be something fun to look up about this guy. Where did he live? This is something I'd like to know. All the places he lived. And did he travel place to place? How big was he when he was born? Oh my gosh, I wonder about that. And I wonder, how long did it take him to grow? Because we know in our lifetime we're going to grow maybe, 6 feet or more. A lot of us, some of us don't. But can you imagine, thinking about how long that would be too? I would think it would take a while, but maybe not. So anyway, we've talked about that giant megalodon shark tooth. Now I forgot to tell you the name. And the name is cool too, because sometimes they just say the Meg. So anyway, next to it, we have some other teeth. So one of them looks a lot like the megalathon tooth. Can you see it right there in the sand? Okay, but it's not quite as large. So maybe that was from a younger one. Also, there's one on the other side that has that very distinct shape also. But you can see in this whole group of teeth, some are narrow, some are small, and one is a little whiter than the other. Most of the time, the color came from where it was fossilized, like what kind of sediment or rock that it was found in. So, talking about this, I think it would be kind of fun maybe to try to draw this shark's tooth. So what we need to do is get a piece of paper. It doesn't matter what kind, just it can even have lines on it. That's fine too. That kind of gives you an idea of how big or small to draw something when you have the lines. So just get a pencil and a piece of paper. I'll give you a minute and then we'll go try to draw. So I made an outline with a marker, and you can use markers too if you like. And I just wanted to show you how the shape is very similar to, I think you're looking at it upside down, but it's kind of heart-shaped actually. But now what I want you to do, after you get the outline shape, okay, I want you to do some shading in this, because that's what makes it really interesting. And I want you to put some little tiny pointy things on the edges, because this is what the edge is really like. It's serrated. And that means it could really tear and chunk into something. So maybe that cow we were talking about. So anyway, poor cow. Anyway, here, let's do some shading, because it's not the same color all over. The top is a very kind of light gray. So let's just put some light shading in it, okay? But also, it has some kind of ridgy things going down, like where the tooth got worn a little bit. So that line is darker and it's usually thinner. If you look at your own teeth, you will see sometimes your tooth is not just always smooth all the way across. Sometimes it will have little ridges in it. I don't know, we might edit that one. Don't want to say the better to bite you with, but now you can see I'm getting this nice shading in up here. But down here, lots more tiny little lines. And it's almost like wings. It's kind of, gosh, I wonder if maybe somebody else that's a shark detective knows what these are. Maybe it's where it fit into the gum or something. But you know, that's something you can find out. You can find out all the things we talked about if you can go to the computer, or later when the libraries come back open. Oh my gosh, you can find so much out. So what I'm doing, all of this, okay, is going to be light. This is going to be darker, all right? I'm just giving you the idea, because it would take all day, really, not all day, but it's going to take a while to get it all shaded right. And then I hope that you will try that on your own. But down here, it is really dark, okay? So you want to put a little more pressure to make this darkness down here. So, okay, so then this is a little dark, but not as dark as that, okay? And this is the light part, all right? So when you're doing it on your own, you can see light, medium, dark. Now, when you have put your drawing down, when you do put your drawing down, you can think of the size of your own hand. That would be a good way to center it in the paper. That's how I did it with mine too, just about the size of my hand. Then I'm going to measure it because I said the one we were looking at in the cabinet was about 6 inches. I think this one's about 6. Whoa, 6 1/4, not bad. So if this is 6 1/4 inches long, okay, and this would be like if you were a scientist, you might be having to do this in your laboratory to learn all about this. Now, we know too that part of it would not be flat, but we kind of have to draw it flat. So if you have a protractor though, you could get an idea of the size of where the curve is up here. See, and that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's almost 6 inches too. So if you were looking at this and you had it in front of you, you would be able to feel the rough edges and how it was not really smooth and it's not really shiny. It's sort of like, it's heavy like a rock, but it has a different texture than a rock. So you want to talk about, you can imagine what kind of texture, what kind of colors might be in it. Think about where it might have come from. And all these things, if you get a chance, you can go online and the questions can be answered, or you can also go to your library or come to the museum, the Westmoreland County Museum in Montrose, and you can see this in person. All right, keep drawing, have some fun.